You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
In this day and age, any facilitation or interaction with the First Realm, the servile society, requires the revealing of some sort of personally identifiable information. Whether renting a place, buying a house, or buying cigarettes, one is faced with the burden of taxes, regulatory burdens, and in the case of the latter, a doxing of themselves to any random corporate employee that asks. Though, it's awfully hard or nearly impossible to get by without any sort of interaction. In Vonu terminology, Rayo describes this as a one-directional isolationism, wherein the self-liberator has access to their open but not free trading centers, but denies them access to his home base or bases. More expansively, a solution is found in Second Realm, book on strategy with the proxy merchant. The proxy merchant is a specialized individual who helps to facilitate said interactions with the coercers and haters of privacy, usually at a fee or premium. A proxy merchant may help with cryptocurrency trading, i.e. fiat to Monero, Monero to Bitcoin, or whatever, giving a self-liberator a private, more trusted solution versus using a third-party exchange. They might be in real estate and own apartment complexes, renting home bases out to self-liberators in Monero, off the books, and via a pseudonym. This real estate mogul might operate mail forwarding and residency services. Perhaps, this proxy merchant is also in contact with Thane Riddle's insurrectionary agorists, and they somehow got into possession of a pallet of non-KYC cigarettes. Now, they are able to pass on the benefits to those in the Second Realm, without paying the ridiculous extortion fees on such products. 20+ years back, every American committed at least 3 felonies a day. Today, it's surely far higher. The options for assisting freedom pioneers becomes ever expansive as each day passes by. Support the expansion of the Second Realm, the parallel, but still, circular economy, and keep our hard-earned money away from the baby boomers and coercers. Become a proxy merchant today. But this role isn't necessarily for everyone. It requires someone with a mind towards privacy, someone who exemplifies security culture principles, a self-liberator who thrives off exploiting loopholes and finding the glitches in this coercive matrix. If this sounds like you and you'd like to make a bit of coin, digital or otherwise, become a proxy merchant today. There's no website. Just start doing it. Tell the PAZNIA network about it. And profit.
Hey guys, Scott here for Liberty Under Attack Publications. Looking for a Liberty-focused publisher? Liberty Under Attack publishes books and strategy guides for individuals looking to increase their personal freedom. They assist authors through the entire publishing process: proofreading, editing, cover designs, paperback and Kindle formatting, and full audiobook narration and post-production. Tell them Scott sent you and get 20% off a full service deal. To get some one-of-a-kind books or for more information, visit libertyunderattack.com.
Transmission source: PAZNIA Radio Network. Frequency: 99.9. Freedom. Date: April 8, 2026. To President Dolan J. Trump, USSA. From General Willie II, Supreme Commander of the Free Republic of PAZNIA. Subject: your new residence and a suggestion to stop posting on Truth Social.
Greetings, citizens of the USSA, and a special direct message to Dolan J. Trump, the man who thought he could rule the world with a golden pen and a broken phone. I am speaking to you today not as a goat, but as a liberator. I am speaking to you via the PAZNIA Radio Network, the only station in the world that doesn't play ads for tax loopholes or cheap off-grid solar kits made in China. Dolan, listen closely. The time for Make the USSA Great Again is over. The time for Make the USSA Quiet Again has begun. I have reviewed your recent activity. I have seen the photos. I have heard the rants. I have seen the way you hold your phone like it's a holy relic, posting on Truth Social while the world burns around you. Put the phone down, Dolan. Put it down. Your fingers are getting cramped. Your brain is getting fried. And quite frankly, your orange hairline is looking a little receding. It is time to put on the white jacket. Yes, the white jacket. The one with the little pockets for your pills and your napkins. It's the uniform of the wise, the calm, and the people who finally understand that the world doesn't need a dictator. It needs a nap. So, Dolan, pack your bags. Not your golf clubs, not your gold statues, but your dignity. Because you are heading to your new home. Your new residence is the St. Jude Sanctuary for the peaceful and the peaceful-minded. It's a beautiful place, Dolan. Very quiet, very soft, very jello. Imagine it, Dolan. No more rallies. No more screaming at the mirror. It's a warm, wobbly bowl of strawberry jello every morning. And in the afternoon, you get to watch Fox News on a loop. But here's the catch. Dolan, you can't talk about it. You can't tweet about it. You can't post about it. You just get to watch and eat and nap. It's the life you always wanted, Dolan. A life of passive consumption. No more fighting. No winning. Just you, a bowl of jello, and the endless loop of breaking news that never breaks anything. We have prepared a special transport for you. It's a comfortable padded van with soundproofing. The ride will be smooth. The ghosts will be driving. They are very good drivers. They know how to avoid potholes. So Dolan, get your white jacket ready, pack your jello, and get ready for the great transition. The PAZNIA Radio Network will be broadcasting your new theme song all day long. It's called Orange Jello Jive. Remember, Dolan, freedom is not about controlling the world. It's about letting go. And the best way to let go is to sit in a white room, eat some jello, and watch the news until the credits roll. Signed, General Willie II, Supreme Commander, Free Republic of P.A.Z.NIA, the Quarter Goat, the Liberator, the Jello King.
This was PAZNIA Folklore Storytime, wherein we remember and celebrate the sacrifices of those that came before us to build this free republic founded upon the principles of truth, peace, and voluntarism. To help support our evangelical efforts, please visit xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio. Again, xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio. Or visit paznia.com/fund. Cheers from the Second Realm.
Hiding things, harming others, stopping others from harming you. I'm Thane Riddle. This is Cloak Dagger.
Yo baby, yo baby, yo baby. A gush bush bush, my niggas. This is Thane Riddle punching in for another underpaid shift, boss. Shouting into the ether live from downtown Ashgabat. You're listening to you're listening, okay? Y-O-U-R. Just so you know, that's how it's spelled in my notes. You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network, the most spectacular treasure in history. We're live on Zap.stream. If you're a Bitcoin sell, you can zap us silly on Zap.stream or Noster, which is a gay way of saying send Lightning Bitcoin. If you're a Monero Chad, send Monero at xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio. Tell them Thane sent you, give me something to read on the show. And don't go. What? Do go to paznia.com/SimpleXRadios. That's me willfully saying it wrong. Okay, this is a URL. I can't do that. paznia.com/SimpleXRadio. Can we also make paznia.com/SimpleXRadios with a Z as well as an S? Can we make those work too? Just in case I do that again. Get your ass into the PAZNIA Radio Network chat on SimpleX. Leave us some messages there. I'll read them on the show in like an hour and a half. The fuck was that? Maybe he's trying to use the soundboard. I heard there's a soundboard now. The down to earth tip today is voice transformers. What? That's right. It's a listener suggested. It's a listener suggested down to earth tip that I read for the first time today. And it's on a topic that I either don't know anything about or I'm pretending not to know anything about for OPSEC reasons. So it's going to be pretty bad. Building second realms, go fuck yourself. Prank calls, try again next year. Guest in an hour, a guy who's already been on the show. What? Doc Barber coming back to the show in an hour to talk about Midfest happening on the 29th. He's also the guy who does Agorist.market. He likes Qortal and likes to talk about it. He's going to get this channel permanently banned from YouTube because he makes a product that I can't say the name of. Okay. It rhymes with schmoidal schmilver. Okay. And it is a toxic heavy metal solution, not for human consumption, only used for research purposes on gay frogs. Now here's the news. I think there's an audio clip for news. I'm just going to wait.
This is Cloak and Dagger News, catching you up on this week's stories, propaganda, or psychological operations critical to your security and privacy.
In Second Realms news, Midfest is happening. Okay? I'm saying that again. Our pal Doc Barber started Midfest. It's a decentralized, organic, magical creature that no man can control. Neither can any low-level parapsychological entity such as a tulpa or a servitor. They can only sabotage it. That's because Midfest itself is an egregory, okay, of greater power than them. Yeah, it's happening on April 29th. Whatever. It's in the Ozarks. Digital news, go fuck yourself. Just like 2 weeks ago, you're going to have to go fuck yourself, because even though I'm like late by like weeks on some of this digital news, I didn't have time to do it, or I was too lazy, or I procrastinated. I was too busy smoking crack and playing Crack Tycoon. The website is Narrakeet. That's just one of their... Oh, fuck, sorry. Never mind. That's Rayo 2 answering something I said offline. It was a very, very bad OPSEC slip-up. It was highly sensitive. To just pretend that you didn't hear that. Logistics news. Oil shortage. Blah, blah, blah. Fuel costs a lot and will keep costing a lot. Blah, blah, blah. Some air flights will be canceled. The rest will go up in price. If you want a plane ticket, you might want to like get that now or something, because I think oddly enough the prices haven't gone up yet. I mean, geez, that's quite a delay. Maybe they keep a lot of like fuel stocked up or something. I don't know, but I think it's going to go up a lot. I think in Europe that ship is sailed already, but like in the Americas, it's yet to come, but it's coming, I think. Also in logistics news, even though it's not properly marked in my notes, the Jubail Industry City in Saudi Arabia puts out 7% of the world's petrochemicals for making plastic. Have you ever hung a plastic bag on a branch or something and set it on fire? It's pretty cool. It like melts as it's burning, and so it looks like it's raining fire. And there's all this stinky black smoke that comes out of it. I'm thinking that's probably what Jubail looks and smells like right about now, because they're on fire and shutting down their plants to avoid being bombed. It's kind of like, okay, don't, you don't have to bomb the factory. Look, I'm shutting it down. See? Okay, so then you kind of a good play on their part, I'd say. 7% of the world's petrochemicals used for making plastic. Oh no, not plastic. What are we gonna do? Now something you get from the dollar store will cost $1.10 instead. It's bigger deal than you might think, boss. What about plastic anime girl figures? Like you see all around you. Look left and right in your room. Just think about it. I think Hazlitt or Mises said something about plastic anime girl figures, didn't they? It's like the broken Winry fallacy or something. Parties and party vans news. Block parties in Gulf Ireland. Partying all night from coast to coast in the verdant land of Ireland. The parties started over fuel cost being high, they say, and they want, like, farmers and shit, whatever, want truckers, whatever, want folks to cut the diesel tax. By folks, I mean specific folks who are the government. But really, the parties are about much more than that. The parties have become kind of like a vague overall nationalistic anti-government kind of thing, and it's getting kind of out of hand, maybe. Now these partiers, okay, these block partiers going wild. You ever seen that Dave Chappelle special about the block party? It's basically like that, except they park all their trucks and cars and stuff in front of all the roads going to and from, I think, like the biggest refinery in Ireland, which like cut off 40% of Ireland's fuel supply overnight. So in case you haven't heard, centralization is a bad idea, and it creates these things called single points of failure. If you had trouble picturing what a single point of failure is, you can take a look at this. So it led to the price of fuel not only skyrocketing in Ireland, but fuel shortages, bad fuel shortages, like you won't be able to do something because there won't be any fuel kind of shortages in Ireland. That's fun. Also, another thing that's fun, I don't know if many folks are aware of this outside of Ireland, but there's a big police commissioner, making threats against Irish folks, which is not news in and of itself. That's like an everyday thing whenever there's some sort of protest or something in Europe. But there's this funny little bit where this police commissioner making public threats against Irish folks is not even Irish, but is rather Canadian, and not just any Canadian, but a Canadian with a degree in mass surveillance who had a hand in the crackdown on the trucker convoy in Canada. So that's fun. It's a bit on the nose. Everyone can kind of tell what the vibe of that is. It's not very subtle. So, kind of pisses people off. There's no telling where it'll go. I think Irish people have a history of showing their seriousness in Civil War adjacent things in the recent past. It seems like a good mix of fun and scary because hijacking abound, psyops abound, playing both sides abound in things like this. Trucker convoy was hijacked. Trucker convoy was run by controlled opposition in Canada. There was like one guy who seemed earnest, and then there was a chick who had like photo ops of her being arrested and stuff. She has like all these globalist connections. Got to watch out for that kind of thing. But hey, it could be fun. It could be fun because Irish people know how to have a good time. They know how to party. Okay, in more ways than one. In fun with fascist property news, California Molotov thrower needs to try medicine ball training. Because there's this guy, you see, he threw a Molotov at the house of this guy who's like the CEO of OpenAI. But it just hit his gate. It only hit his gate. So what we need to take away from this story, and also I don't think did they even catch that guy? I don't think they even caught him. I think I think he just threw it and ran away. But anyway, maybe it was a girl. They certainly throw like a girl. But and maybe that's just an OPSEC thing, right? They threw like a girl to throw them off the scent. But anyway, the takeaway from this is got to train with a medicine ball, and learn how to lob the Molotov, or position yourself better. Perhaps what you need is some kind of slingshot for the Molotov cocktail. But just saying, like, not the worst target in the world, but try to get it over the gate. That's all I'm saying. PSYOPs and crackdowns news. Zyklon B stocks are way up, and the age of consent is way down. That's right, folks. The Israeli state's approval rating in the U.S. keeps plummeting, tracking head and head with the age of consent. You thought they couldn't get any lower, but let me tell you, brother, we're going to get lower and lower and lower. You're going down. And in more ways than one, the youth has spoken. Nazi trannies jacking off to lolicon are the future. And they think the Holocaust didn't happen, but it should have. God bless America? ? Don't get high on your own supply. Department of Defense Joint Special Operations. What's the C stand for? Joint Special Operations. I can't remember. JSOC, DOD JSOC whistleblower got nabbed by the FBI for blowing the lid on drug trafficking. The DOD being involved in drug trafficking. And this whistleblower was doing the whistleblowing from 2022 to 2025. The dinosaur media is spreading straight up bald-faced lies about this, telling everybody this has something to do with the U.S. real war on Iran, blah, blah, blah. Something to do with the F-15 being shot down, even though this whistleblowing happened literally years ago, and there is literally not even one shred of factual evidence that even comes close to backing up the claim that has something to do with Iran. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's why they could take down the planes, because of the intel leak. Not because Iran has actual military capabilities to shoot us down, because of the intel leak. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, folks. This whistleblowing did happen years ago, and it's all about drugs. So unless the JSOC had something to do with trafficking fucking highly concentrated extracts of saffron or perhaps date sugar, I don't believe it has shit all to do with Iran. Perhaps the mainstream media snorted a little too much of that sweet DOD white themselves. Don't forget, my intelligence asset listeners, always take your spook bribes in the good old-fashioned money and never get high on your own supply. Elsewise, in PSYOPs and crackdowns, there's a little playtime in Paris. Some more hubbub about, some IEDs being planted, someone trying to bomb something in Paris, and oh, whoops, look at that. The IEDs didn't go off again for the third or fourth time in the last month or two. These kids got caught for the bombs, supposedly, and they're obviously patsies, no matter who's behind it. And then they find the recruiter of the kids, who is only the next patsy up the chain. The question is, for whom? For whom are these guys patsies? There's been a strong trend lately, as you may recall, of so-called terrorist attacks where IEDs do not fucking go off at all and nobody gets hurt. You notice that? You notice that lately? This has happened, like I said, what, three or four times in the last month or so, just that we talked about on the show. Now, I don't know if these things are false flags. I'm just saying that if they aren't, it so happens that they are playing out very conveniently for the kinds of spooks that run false flags, saving them an awful lot of work. The only way to know for sure is to track golf statistics in Langley. If the scores are trending below par, these are only crazy coincidences, and the terrorists need to file a class action lawsuit against the Chinese companies making these god-awful fuses with all that shit quality control. Someone's got to hold them to account. But if the golf players in Langley are getting rusty on the stack and tilt swing over the last couple months, these are false flag attacks. Can we get James Corbett to find the open source intelligence on that, on the golf statistics out of Langley? Regardless of why these fuses keep failing, the state will, you'd think, not let a good threat go to waste, even if it's a limp-wristed one, like an epidemic of terrorists planting bombs that literally never go off. Istanbul, not Constantinople. No, Istanbul, not Constantinople. I like Looney Tunes. That's where I heard that. Another attack on an embassy. It's kind of like, who cares? This time, Israeli embassy in Istanbul. In case you haven't gotten the memo, don't hang out around a U.S. real embassy in the Middle East. I know. Only intelligence assets listen to this show, so you have to go to the embassy for work. Well, you should have thought about that before you picked this line of work, faggot. All that money on university for this bullshit, I hope it was worth it. Now you have to listen to this show for work? Not yet, folks. Not yet, but we'll get there. War news. Yeah, I know you're all waiting for the war news because we haven't had a lot of that lately. So it's a breath of fresh air. The umpteenth Gulf War. Did you guess that I was going to talk about that? It's fucking kill me now. The U.S. tried to rescue the zipper-suited sun gods who were shot down last week. They found the pilot, but not the gunner of the plane. Ooh, weird. I wonder, what happened to him? Do you think he's in the Twilight Zone? Is he a POW? Or did he just like hit his head or something? He came down on the parachute upside down. Anyway, that's a funny thought. The U.S. Hey, actually, you know what? This is an even funnier thought. What if the gunner can't? He was coming down on the parachute and it got caught on something. I don't know how many trees there are around that spot. But the Middle East, believe it or not, is not all sand. So he could have gotten caught on a tree or something. I don't know. And then he could have been hanging upside down. Did you know that if you hang upside down for a while, you just die? It's probably not a fun way to go. If you ever hung upside down, all that pressure, all that blood building up in your head really sucks. And turns out that kills you. And it doesn't take that long. Anyway, the U.S. sent in the rescue team. They ramped up strikes on that bit of Iran to back up the rescue mission. And they lost well over $164 million of aircraft. That's right. Yes, they stopped the Iranian state from messing with the rescue operation. However, as luck would have it, there is no way for the U.S. to save themselves from themselves. You see, in the course of this rescue mission, the rescuers got fucking stuck because of rough ground. That's right, folks. The U.S. is waging war in the Middle East for the umpteenth time, and they still haven't worked out how to take off in fucking sand, or at least how to think about the fact that they can't, or something. So another rescue crew, a second rescue crew, was sent to rescue the rescuers. You may say, if you've heard news from certain sources, but that was all a clever ruse to sneak into a nuclear power plant, something about enriched uranium, right? Nope. Nice try, Fed. That story doesn't hold any water. It's bullshit. And you guys aren't going to save face that easily. They simply fucked up. And take notes, boss. This proves that the time-tested ashwagandha paramilitary tactic of importing sand all over the world and spreading it everywhere will still work in the 21st century. Now, after the U.S. was done rescuing its own rescuers, they blew up their own aircraft. And that, by the way, that's on top of the $164 million they blew on this mission. On top of that, they also blew up their own aircraft that they left behind, and the missiles they used to do it cost more than the aircraft, I think. So they blew up the aircraft. Why? Of course, to stop the Iranian state from getting their sandy little sand nigger paws on them. Now, you might think any good intelligence agency would already have the blueprints for the MC-130, right? But of course, the only good intelligence agency in Iran is Mossad. So blowing up those aircraft likely may have thwarted them. Indeed. Now, maybe the U.S. should take that a bit further and just blow up all their military equipment instead of only most of it. After all, it would be good for the U.S. military-industrial complex and bad for the Iranian military-industrial complex because they wouldn't get to blow up their own missiles. By U.S. logic, that's a good war strategy, right? Just blow up all your... Why? It doesn't even have to leave the U.S. Just blow it all up. Actually, no. Spend a bunch of gas just driving all the stuff all the way around the world and then blow it up. How about that? By U.S. logic, good strategy, good war strategy. Total almost $500 million destroyed aircraft on a bad day or so. Really? Doc Barber claims. That's even worse than I thought, if that's what it was like. $500 million. Lots of stuff kept going this week like it was last week. Iranian state kept winning hard with strikes earlier in the week on U.S. targets in Kuwait and UAE, as well as oil logistics, which now means all kinds of petrochemical plants, by the way, as I brought up earlier, even as far away as Saudi Arabia, leading to the shutdown, as I said in the logistics section, dozens of petrochemical plants, I think like 26 or something, from this one big corporation. Isn't it great to have one big corporation control 26 plants? And they can just shut them all down at any time. Would sure be nice if we replaced them with a decentralized protocol, just saying. So yeah, like I said, kind of a good play, though. Kind of a good play when you think about it. It's probably for the best that they shut it down and then it doesn't get blown up, maybe. Targets in Kuwait seem to be pretty fucked based on satellite pictures. Strait of Hormuz still closed to the Western economy, slowed for the rest, and so on, blah, blah, blah. So tired of saying the same things every week. U.S. tweeted they would start attacking civilian infrastructure. There's no Twitter war expected between the president and the Mossad Twitter account because as much as Mossad wants to recruit Iranian civies, the Israeli state could never say no to blowing up civilian infrastructure. Hell, isn't the IDF's logo like a lamb running through a grassy field on fire or something? I feel like I saw that patch on an IDF guy's gear one time. I wonder, has Willie too ever said anything about how he feels about that logo? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that cowbell. Now, you may recall last week or whatever, the U.S. hit that big bridge thingy, and I said that you can look forward to the Iranian state hitting bridges themselves to get some payback. Well, now they have. Namely, they've been hitting railway bridges. And in Bahrain, they shut down bridges merely at the threat that they could be hit, showing how sometimes a credible threat is almost as good as an attack, and even better in some ways. Of course, bridges are a battle-tested logistics target since forever, boss. It's something to take notes on. Bridges are bottlenecks for transporting the goods and people. And if a bridge wasn't going over something that was hard to cross, it wouldn't exist. So, they're good logistics targets, just saying. And in cases where you've got one side of the war is like grassroots little guys who are basically fighting from their home and all their logistic needs are met locally, whereas the attacker needs to come from far away and they need to have like a supply chain that's kind of overextended to get to them. Taking out the bridges probably going to hurt the bad guys more. Just saying. Something to keep in mind. And bridges aren't the only bottlenecks. How about those curvy mountain roads, those ambush points? You lay down one tree in front of them, one tree behind them, ambush them. Now those tanks are yours. Sounds like fun, right? Keep it in mind. Those party animals over in the UAE were partying all night long, singing, the roof, the roof, the roof is on fire. Oh, so it was thought. They were actually screaming because literally Dubai is on fire. Time to sleep a few nights on the yacht, Abdul. It's just like when you and the wife have a bad argument. Just like the Quran says, first step, admonish her. Next step, sleep on the couch. Third step, wait a second, I don't remember reading anything about snorting coke off a young boy's ass crack. Then again, the meaning of the Arabic word darb in this context is hotly debated, and I guess that is one way of reading it. Gnostics, eat your heart out. These niggas must be closet Sufis or something. Or closet something, that's for sure. And then, of course, these party boys in the UAE shocked us. They shocked us when they lifted their head from the young boy's ass crack to strike an Iranian oil plant. What? What? I guess this coked up tiger has claws, after all. Or maybe, just maybe, these party boys were merely stumbling around drunk in the war room and they slipped and fell on the big red button or something. Who knows? Who knows what goes through their head? Can you even imagine the UAE actually hitting something that isn't the bottle? Or that isn't a hooker? It's not every day or year or decade that something the US president says on TV or on social media or whatever actually matters in a war. For the most part, it's just a bunch of bullshit that, does anybody even bother watching it? I don't know. But something funny happened this week where a US president threatened to genocide a civilian population. As luck would have it, some folks think this could be thought of as a war crime, according to the Geneva Convention. Israel notwithstanding, they don't count. So this rash little remark may have actually done something. It may have had something to do with this so-called ceasefire being declared in this war, because, that way president can get some space from the threat that he made, and anything that happens after that open declaration of intent to commit genocide to the whole world, that might go down poorly, like in some sort of international court. So good timing, good time to. But hey, Trump and QAnon are playing 5D chess, and it's all their trust the plan. Maybe this is one of those 5D chess moves. He actually said that on purpose so that he could get a ceasefire, and he's just pretending. He's just pretending to be an egomaniac who has totally unhinged. Some kind of 2-week ceasefire started, and 2 week, whatever. The Iranian state, of course, began honoring the ceasefire this week right away with the standard reverence of a Middle Eastern state, which is to say that it never stopped carrying out strikes right away, but they did slow them down a little bit. You can't just stop. You can't just stop attacking people right away. You got to wean yourself off of it. Like, you got to ramp it there, or else you're going to get withdrawal and stuff. Of course, how long the quote unquote 2-week ceasefire, quote unquote ceasefire, will last is about as shoddy as the very nature of a ceasefire in the Middle East itself. Even more so because Iran, the Iranian state said the ceasefire will be off if the Israeli state keeps waging war in Lebanon. Now, I'm no history buff, so fuck me if I'm wrong here, but the Israeli state honoring a ceasefire, as far as I know, literally actually fucking unheard of. Has it ever happened ever? Seriously, if you know of a case where the Israeli state honored a ceasefire, let me know. Let me know in the chat or something, because what do I know? But I just can't think of a time when that happened. As I read the numbers, the drones are still powerfully outnumbering the missiles. The lying UAE claimed to intercept 2 drones for every missile intercepted. And now that's quite a lot, right? And it's not too much more than what it was before. But if drones are several times harder to intercept than missiles, as I have been guessing, you know what that means, right, boss? Yeah, that's right. It could mean, if you can do math in your head or whatever, that almost all the fucking strikes could be drone strikes, with most of them not being intercepted. In the fog of war, of course, it's hard to say any of this stuff for sure, but what I feel is that drones are way up and the age of consent is way down, baby. Save it to your notes, save it to your porn folder. It's a matter of time before we have autonomous lowly sex robots, and they're being hacked to try and assassinate us. Keep your hindquarters hot, but your forequarters frosty, boss. Southern Lebanese nights are dimly lit by the romantic man-made twilight of galloping sheep set aflame as the Israeli State Department of Anti-Ruminant Warfare keeps back in the latest land grab of God's chosen faggots. You vile dogs must evacuate everything south of the Litani River, could be heard over the megaphone yet again as the Israeli state carried out its biggest bombing campaign in Lebanon so far. Yeah, that'll show the ground. It's kind of like coming home after a bully beats you up at high school and hitting a punching bag in your basement, imagining the punching bag is him. Of course, the bully will still be there again tomorrow. And even the punching bag doesn't seem much worse for the wear. But such is the case here as well, as far as I can tell so far. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I mean, like, is there any sign of them actually gaining ground in Lebanon? I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but just not hearing about it. That's happening. Of course, the Israeli state is supposed to stop doing this for the ceasefire, right? Yeah, we'll see about that. Speaking of which, the Iranian state, after, slowly ramping down into the ceasefire in the old Middle Eastern way, have gone above and beyond Middle Eastern standards by actually sort of stopping their strikes for a little bit there. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. At the same time, though, the Iranian state also clamped down more on the Strait of Hormuz, seemingly stopping the flow of ships through there almost as much as before, with only a dozen ships or so making it through. Was that part of the deal? I don't think so. I don't think that's what they had in mind when they asked for a ceasefire. I think they wanted them to loosen up on the Strait of Hormuz, not clamp down on it more. But that's the way it goes sometimes. By the way, boss, you'll be pleased to hear this. Guess how the Iranian state has been taking their highway robbery toll payments for ships going through the strait? How are they taking those payments, boss? Can you guess? Is it through bank transfer? Is it through Western Union? I don't know. What's a good? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Someone actually shouted in the chat. It is cryptocurrency. They are taking payments through cryptocurrency because they're not reversible. No one can stop. They're uncensorable. It's not so bad. Hey, it's not the fees aren't so bad when you're asking for, what was it, like $5 million or something? I can't remember what the cost is, but yeah, that's fun. That's another demonstration of the use of cryptocurrency. Not my favorite demonstration, but it makes a point nonetheless. Whatever. Now, the Iranian state also opened up about laying mines in the strait and posted a map of where they claim to have laid them. All right, whatever, cool. U.S. feds claim the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened in 2 months. They base this claim on intel found through psychic visions from Monarch Project rape babies kept inside float tanks, just like Minority Report. They are kept in an above top secret facility believed to be located deep within the annals of their own asses. That's the joke, is that they pulled that out of their ass. You get it? I hope you got it. In case you can't tell, I'd be pretty fucking shocked if this ceasefire lasted till my show next week. the so-called 2-week ceasefire. It's not. I don't think it's going to last 2 weeks. You can look forward to more boring old news about how the umpteenth war is still going for the umpteenth week. Elsewise in war news, the revenge of the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers occurs as, you know, I didn't really see that coming. I mean, like, I'm not watching it too closely, but I thought, you know, the Russian state's little winter power, infrastructure attacks seemed pretty nasty, but the, Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers is likely something I should be watching more closely, because they may well be out of any conventional, like any state military, they might be the number one to sort of emulate for us, because they are on the cutting edge of drone warfare. They are doing asymmetrical warfare, and they've done admirably, and now they're kind of turning the tables a little bit. They're recapturing territory that they lost before, and it's become a little bit of a war of attrition, where like the Russian state has kind of like run out of. You can only send so many lemmings to die in a war before you kind of run out. And that's the nature of guerrilla warfare, right? You try to kill and hurt the enemy without dying and being hurt and spending so much money yourself. And that has a tendency to become better and better for you over time, because the enemy starts running out. And I should probably look at this more closely, because Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers not doing so badly. And apparently my listener, the latest survey says that my listeners are Nazi sympathizers for some reason, which is a crying shame. It's a crying shame, God damn it. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having brown nipples. They look just like milk duds. Also in war news, the U.S. deploys new, lighter, more modular nuclear missile silo program for World War III. Only it's 10 years too late and way over budget. Wah, wah. There you go. Now here's some ads. Books. LibertyUnderAttack.com sells books. Books can be digital. You can get digital books at libertyunderattack.com/digital. Super secretly, okay? You can fucking do it over Tor browser with a Monero. You can pay in Monero, and but you do have to give them an email address. What in the fucking? Oh, okay. In case the checkout flow is fucked up and Rayo2 needs to email you the books. But wait, it gets even better than that with a crazy fucking deal called the PAZNIA Radio Network Digital Self-Liberation Bundle XMR Chat Special. Instead of getting the Digital Self-Liberation Bundle, which is a bajillion books, okay, for $33.33, which is already a great deal, use special PRN autists listening to this. Can you go to xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio, leave a donation worth $20 or more, say something about Thane and the Digital Self-Liberation Bundle. You will get the Digital Self-Liberation Bundle at no further cost, and I, the great Thane Riddle, will get half your Monero. Blah, 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 27 syllables, 27 books. Whatever. I'm not scared anymore. You can't try that old trick on me again. But the XMR Chat Special does not only give you 27 books, it gives you an additional 10 books on top of the 27 that you would otherwise get. It's a crazy deal, folks. Radio2's gone crazy. Take advantage of that now by sending $20 or more worth of Monero at xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio. It's saying something about Thane and Digital Book Bundle. Leaves an email address for Boomer Radio2 to send you the books at. You can check the private message checkbox or use super DMs so that not everyone sees the email. But wait, why stop at only taking the books out of reading books when you can also take the reading out of reading books? That's right, folks. There's now a deal on a shitload of audiobooks also. With the new XMR Chat LUA publication Sounds of Self-Liberation mega bundle. You can get 72 hours worth of audio magic by donating only $30 or more worth of XMR at xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio and leaving an email address. And Rayo2 will send you a link to a file that's more than 4 gigabytes, which will have the Brushfire Thriller series by Matthew Witecki, Second Realm, book on strategy, original Vonu books, privacy and security culture, audiobooks by Kyle Reardon, and much more. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does XMR Chat LUA Publication Sounds of Self-Liberation Mega Bundle have 24 syllables because you're going to say it 3 times in this ad read, which makes 72, and that's how many hours of audio there are in the bundle? First off, how do you know I'm going to say it 3 times? I'm not going to fall for that trick again. Second, stop messing with my head and start getting a crazy deal on audiobooks by going to xmrchat.com/PAZNIA radio and leaving a donation worth 30 USD or more with a working email address. Or for a double 360 win, a 720 win, if you will. Why not leave a donation worth $50 or more and get both the PAZNIA Radio Network Digital Self-Liberation Bundle XMR Chat Special and XMR Chat LUA Publication Sounds of Self-Liberation Mega Bundle? Fuck, I said it 3 times again. Honorary stakeholder, it's this thing where you give a bunch of money to the PAZNIA, and you get a fuzzy feeling, okay? But you also get to officially join the Second Realm and get discounts on other hustles in the Agora, more access to the PAZNIA network, an elite organization of syllables that get counted every day, and maybe even some free PAZNIA merch. Go to PAZNIA.com/Thane, that's THANE, to check out all the perks of becoming an honorary stakeholder and put in coupon code Thane to get $25 off. I'm not going to read the Holy Hydrogen ad because I think he plays it during the pre-recorded stuff. Thank fucking God. But I did it 2 times. I did it the last 2 weeks, even though he was already playing the first time. He was playing a recording of the first time that I did it. And I did it 2 more times anyway. But that's how it is on this beautiful show where you get amazing tips that are down to earth. You can play the audio intro for that.
Here's Thane Riddle with this week's Down to Earth tip.
Are you ready for the least well prepared down to earth tip of all time? Got 15 minutes to do it. That's perfect. Because it's not good and there's not a lot of meat on these bones. So let's get through it. I've asked you in desperation to give me down to earth tips and building the Second Realms stuff to talk about on the show because I'm plumb out. I ran out. So for every idea you give me that I use on the show, I owe you $1 worth of Monero. So now Respublica Abkhazia, I owe you $1 unless you don't want it, which you likely don't because you're a nice guy who likes me seemingly. But anyway, or you're a nice embassy or country or whatever. Today's best offline open source voice transformers, straight from the horse's mouth, meaning not horse in the sense of like a good source that is direct, horse in the sense that I know as much about this topic as a horse does. And I am only going to be reiterating AI slop to you about this topic, but maybe you'll like it because I said it. So the overview is I'm gonna bring up 3. Basically, look, here's the deal. The game these days with voice transformers and voice generation, it's all about AI. It's all about AI now. AI, even shitty AI models, outperform the old school stuff. So we're only going to talk about doing this with AI models. That's it. And we're going to talk about these 3 models. Are these the best 3 models for me to be talking about? I don't fucking know. I have no fucking clue. But this is what I'm going to talk about. First, XTTS version 2. Mozilla TTS. Wait, is that one even good? No, I cut that one, didn't I? I cut that one. That's a lie. I'm not talking about Mozilla TTS because I determined that it sucks. I'm talking about fish speech. Fish speech. Shit, they should have thought about how that sounds when you say it out loud with your voice. Isn't that ironic for a TTS model? Fish speech version 1.5. And I'm also going to talk to you about Kitten, TTS. First, let's talk about specs. I know what you're thinking. AI, I don't have the hardware for that shit. Well, I got good news for you. Yes, you do. Okay, because everything's different. We're not talking about a high octane LLM here. We're not talking about video generation. We're not talking about image generation. We're talking about text to speech / voice transformation. And I got good news for you. You can do it with lower specs. The beefiest one, the one with the beefiest requirements of these three is Fish Speech version 1.5, which needs 12 gigabytes of VRAM in your graphics card at the very least. 16 gigabytes is good. 24 gigabytes even better. So if you're a fucking gamer or something, you might accidentally have this. Now, Fish Speech has better multilingual support, I've heard, than the other ones here. So if multilingual is the game, Fish Speech may be what your eye is on. Sounds natural, I've heard, and that it has fine-grained controls to do with emotionality and fucking whatever. Some word I don't know. Now, XTTS version 2, this is a middle-of-the-road option, requiring 4 gigabytes of VRAM at least. Even a shitty graphics card will have that probably these days. 10 gigabytes is good. 16 gigabytes with a good CPU is best. They say it's known for high-quality output, and it sounds expressive, good at speaking with feeling. Has interesting seeming voice creation features. Seems training-oriented. Now, I know what you're saying. I don't have a graphics card at all. I'm a piece of shit. I got a smart toaster that someone threw out. I got some Raspberry Pis lying around. Is there anything I can do with that? The answer apparently is yes. That's where Kitten TTS comes in. It will run on, you don't even need a graphics card. It will run on CPU. However, if you do have a GPU, then do enable GPU acceleration for Kitten TTS. You have a GPU from 2005 lying around that has less than 4 gigabytes of RAM. Better than nothing. Might as well. If you have specs to run any of these things, Fish Speech, better for multilingual. Otherwise, XTTS seems good. And if your hardware is shit, go with Kitten. Here's some overall tips from a guy who either doesn't know what he's talking about or is pretending not to know what he's talking about because it's some sort of weird OPSEC thing. He doesn't want you to know for some reason that he knows about this. I don't know. Overall tips. If you're going to be, I think these models all work different ways and stuff, but if you're going to be basically training it to generate a new voice from a data set, you'll want to, maybe you want to clone a specific person's voice because you want to do something really weird, something real fun, maybe social engineering. Start with, because people are fucking dumb, dude. They don't know you can clone someone's voice. So go and get that money while the money is good. Start with high quality audio data set for the voice that you want to clone. Minimal background noise, no noises in the audio except their voice, consistent volume levels. Whether it's MP3 or FLAC or whatever, keep all the files the same encoding. Give it a data set with short sentences, long sentences. Your subject is speaking with different tones, different feelings. That's a high quality data set. For installation, make this easier on yourself. You use a Docker installation if it's available. Otherwise, you're going to be troubleshooting with dependencies and configs in your environment. Good luck. Training, if you're training something, if you're training making a new voice, read about these things called batch size and grad accumulation. A rule of thumb is that when you multiply one by the other, you want to get 252. Just a rule of thumb. Watch your training performance, how long it takes. Learn what overfitting is and read about that shit. Adjust as needed. Give yourself feedback. And make sure the VRAM and RAM settings make sense for what you actually have. Since this is live generation, what you want is called audio streaming, okay? And you're going to make sure that that's enabled and it's set up to do that. For troubleshooting, if the audio you're getting is like fucked up, the number one likely pitfall is your data set. Did you listen to that first part where I said if you trained a voice, you made a voice, you're high quality, your data set is high quality. You might maybe add new things to it. If something is weird, that could sound like the distortion that you're hearing, maybe try removing that. No weird sounds, no background noises. read the docs, check the forums, or better yet, just fucking ask an LLM to help you troubleshoot. To hopefully save you time. And as far as I've seen, LLMs are fucking better at troubleshooting than almost anything else, dude. Shit that used to take you all day long banging your head against the wall, you can give one prompt to an LLM and like show it some outputs that you're getting and tell it details about what's going on, and it will like give you the answer, okay? Because it's training data. That random ass post someone made in the year 2003 on a forum no one uses anymore that would take you 3 days to find, that's in its training data. So seriously, for troubleshooting, maybe ask an LLM first. And whatever, there you go. Did you like the down-to-earth tip that was suggested by Respublika Abkhazia and upvoted by the likes of John Galt and Ted, technically, because Ted upvoted the whole fucking list? Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe, hit that bell. And now you can hear robots tell you jokes and music and so forth. And then when we come back, our guest Doc Barber will be here. Now, when it comes to weird alternative health shit, you may have heard of Brown's gas, boss, aka molecular hydrogen. Technically, actually, molecular hydrogen is just one part of what Brown's gas is, but whatever. It's a kind of wellness treatment used by health professionals and weirdos all over the world, both mainstream and otherwise. They got gas bars in Japan and shit. Big body of research showing that this therapy likely helps with pretty much everything: cancer, diabetes, heart disease, pretty much every organ system in the body. Over 1,500 papers, therapeutic potential for 170 diseases. In broad strokes, it works by fucking electrolyzing water into hydrogen and oxygen, and then you breathe that shit and you drink the water that it's bubbled through. And these gases are, negatively charged and shit, and they get into every cell of your body. It's probably how magical healing springs work, at least partially. The water is hydrogen enriched. Now, the PAZNIA Department of Health and Wellness has run R&D on these machines for about 4 years, and the top machine being recommended right now is the Lord's Hydrofix by Holy Hydrogen. And can you believe it? We have a coupon code for a product that isn't on our own fucking store. There's a first time for everything, so save a fat chunk of change on the Department of Health and Wellness's top recommended machine, and support Cloak and Dagger at the same time by heading on over to holyhydrogen.com and inputting coupon code VONU100 to get $100 off your Lord's Hydrofix. You're going to want to do your own research on this. The Molecular Hydrogen Institute website can help you with that. There's whatever, you can use whatever resources you want. There's a huge body of research on this. You know as well as I do, hopefully, that there are a lot of bullshit health tonics and gimmicks being hawked out there. The Brown's gas is one of the truest, most powerful tonic treatments out there in the world by far. When you learn for yourself how much of a health and wellness bombshell molecular hydrogen truly is, you're going to see why having your own machine is truly worth the investment. These machines are a bit costly, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, but they last for ages, and they may help you save on health costs in the long run. Nothing's a bigger deal than your health, so pony the fuck up. Go to holyhydrogen.com, use coupon code VONU100, Victor Oscar November Uniform 100. Get $100 off.
Hey guys, Scott here for Liberty Under Attack Publications. Looking for a Liberty-focused publisher? Liberty Under Attack publishes books and strategy guides for individuals looking to increase their personal freedom. They assist authors through the entire publishing process: proofreading, editing, cover designs, paperback and Kindle formatting, and full audiobook narration and post-production. Tell them Scott sent you and get 20% off a full service deal. To get some one-of-a-kind books or for more information, visit libertyunderattack.com.
Liberty Under Attack Publications is your source for all things self-liberation. Featuring high-quality agorist and anarchist fiction, Paul Rosenberg's A Lodging of Wayfaring Men and his The Breaking Dawn are two great starts. The Brushfire series by Matthew Wojtecki is stellar, #Agora, and more. Save Bitcoin or fiat by buying a bundle, such as the Strategy Sample Pack, wherein you can explore a few different strategies to the problem of freedom. At Current, Vonu, Ben Stone's Vision, and Second Realm book on strategy. And once you're inspired to take action in your own life, head on over to the Ghost Pads and Privacy Tools tab to get yourself a Ghost Phone and Ghost Pad, and secure your communications from both the public and private spies. Stock up your home apothecary with items from Aura's Apothecary, Black Drawing Salve, Comfrey Salve, Natural Insect Repellent, and much more. And finally, the newest edition, PAZNIA Farms Canned Goods, Cowboy Candy, Pickles, Salsa, etc. Of course, all of the canned goods and the apothecary items are made with the highest quality ingredients, some grown here at the homestead. Head on over to libertyunderattack.com, again libertyunderattack.com, to check out our full catalog or to place your order today. Bitcoin accepted and preferred. Email if you'd like to pay with XMR, shane@libertyunderattack.com, or if you'd like to place an international order. Again, libertyunderattack.com. Liberty Under Attack Publications. Share your story, find your freedom.
And now, back to Cloak and Dagger with host Thane Riddle.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm just using one of those voice transformers. It's the kind that you put in your mouth. Hardware voice transformer. The kind that you stick to a mirror with a suction cup. Sometimes you see streamers using it. Anyway, I'm here with our guest, Doc Barber. Hello, Doc.
Howdy.
ID, pretty good. Howdy.
Yep, pleasure to be here, or there, or wherever.
Now, tell them who you are in case they forgot.
Oh, let's see. I'm the guy who started Midfest and the Agorist stock market website. And I've got that PPM silver business, and been doing a lot of stuff on Qortal lately. And oh, let's see. We're kind of looking at maybe putting in some more camping spots for Vonu folks in the neighborhood. This and that.
Well, why don't you tell them about Midfest since that's coming up?
Yeah. The Midfest starts sometime around the 29th of May. You never really know when because it starts when people start showing up, whenever that is. And it's been like weeks ahead of time. I mean, people could literally start showing up anytime now. And then it goes until everybody leaves. And I guess you could say there's sort of a peak weekend there between that April 29th and May 5th date that are put on the website as kind of a guideline. But
So
it's,
April 29th and that weekend, it's like a peak time.
yeah, that's when the most people are probably going to be there.
So folks
I don't
can
know
show up
that for
well
certain.
before that if they want to.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
And how the hell did they find it?
Well, there's a website that has some directions that it's in or near Spavinaw, Oklahoma. And it's midway between Spavinaw and then a bit north the highway turns. It's kind of along that stretch of road. There's an old school bus that's been painted up by a bunch of crazy artists out front of the place. That's kind of the marker.
Is there like an old guy that tells you not to go down that road like in Pet Cemetery?
No, not really. But if you don't behave yourself, I suppose it can turn out like Copperhead Road. You never really.
And well, what is that website where people find directions?
It's midfest.info.
And I think you're also on Qortal, right?
Yeah, there's a website on Qortal named Midfest, and they're both exactly the same, just published in a different place.
You don't have a reticulum site, do you?
Not yet, but when Qortal starts running on top of Reticulum, I
Right.
suppose we will.
Right. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, getting real close. Reticulum's more of a just a communications protocol, and then you have programs that can run on top of it.
Yeah. Now, paint a picture. What's Midfest like?
Well, it's just a big old camping ground. They have one event there every year called Harvest Fest, which celebrates the harvest of the marijuana crop. And it's the biggest event they have there by far. They have like 4,000 or 5,000 campers. So, they can handle a pretty good sized crowd. Midfest doesn't have that many people, but it gives us plenty of options. You can either park up near the front where it's not such a long walk to the bathroom, or you can park way the hell back in the back and nobody will ever know you're there. So it's a big old place, lots of trees. It's kind of in the hills or the foothills of the Ozarks, real pretty. There's a lake right there nearby called Lake Spavinaw. And then a lot of people like floating on the river below the dam at Lake Spavinaw. And yeah, pretty area. The campground's got all the facilities, showers and bathrooms and coin operated laundry and all that stuff. And there's a swimming pool. And this time, the Midfest is being held late enough, they might actually have the pool open. So that'd be cool. And when you first come into the park, there's nobody there waiting for you to say, here, you got to pay us a certain amount. And there, you can park in that spot over there. They have no spots. You just show up and go wherever you want, plop down your tent, and maybe if you have a something else you want to put up for stuff you're selling, a canopy or something. And then eventually the campsite people will be around to collect your payment. And so it's, pretty laid back, and there's trash cans around. And the main thing is the people. Everybody who comes there becomes a part of Midfest because there is no plan. There's nothing planned about Midfest. In fact, that's one of the most important things about Midfest is it's totally spontaneous. And if you think about, the most wonderful things that happen in your life, it's amazing how often they're just spontaneous. So we're creating the opportunity for those things to happen. And so as a result, Midfest is always different, always special. So yeah, it's just a bunch of people gathered in the woods, enjoying being around each other, feeling what it's like to be in a free, real, true liberty environment, selling their stuff for whatever, trading or whatever. Uh, I usually end up trading other people. Like if there's somebody there that's selling meals, I'll trade them whatever I'm selling for,
Selling needles.
selling meals. Yeah.
Oh,
There might be a needle sale there too, but I don't do needles. So, but at
do
any
you get a
rate,
discount on used ones?
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's none of my business because I'm not in charge. That's my job, not in charge. And I discourage other people from trying to be in charge because it's always the people in charge that fuck things up.
That's true. Yeah. Now, what kind of crowd are you drawing at Midfest? What are the folks like?
Well, surprising number of kids. It's a very family friendly thing. And I mean, the kids just go around in like little flocks, and they'll be off over here, then they'll be off over there. And there's little different groups. And they like to sell stuff too. The kids there will be selling cookies, rocks and arrowheads, and, whatever. And I always like buying stuff from the kids, because they're learning. They're learning what it's like to, you know, to get out there and
That's better than school.
make a little. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the way I see it. And then the people there, they look a lot like just average day in town. I mean, you got all ages. You got guys and gals and whatever. You got old folks, young folks. You know, it's really very much a cross section of what society looks like. So that's pretty cool. And just the main thing is everybody there kind of gets it. They understand what is liberty. They're not there to try and manipulate anybody or get people to do stuff or tell people what to do. If you go to a campfire somewhere in the camp and you don't care for the conversation, you just get up and go to the next campfire and, you know, find a place you feel good and then keep wandering around. You'll find a few places you like hanging out, and that's probably the places where you're going to go. And you just kind of do whatever.
Now, you said there's no planning. I think you mean there's no central planning, but surely there's some decentralized planning. Have you caught wind of any events or like cool things or vendors that come to mind that they're coming?
Not really. One guy mentioned a fella from a Scottish fella who does podcasts that's going to be there. So, that would be probably our attendee from farthest away. But, you often have people there from California, New Hampshire, Mexico, Canada, just from all over, but not a lot of people. It's like maybe 1 or 200 people. And it's just a nice, small, intimate crowd because when things get too big, you never really, sometimes they devolve into something you wish they hadn't. Now, we haven't ever had that problem with Midfest.
I think you might be right.
I've experienced it with other festivals where usually the thing that screwed them up, somebody decided they were in charge and they were going to do something different, and then everybody gets irritated at them, and then the next year nobody shows up, So yeah, it just kind of varies. And that's the nice thing. There's nobody in charge. I mean, the date is decided on just by the people that are there. I mean, they could literally decide at the camp that year when we're going to have the next one. It's always sometime in October or April. And then usually what happens is we have a discussion on a session or maybe over on Telegram, although I don't do Telegram anymore. But that'll just kind of go on for a while, people kicking stuff around. And then eventually it seems like a date just kind of emerges from the discussion. And, it has nothing to do with a vote or anything like that. It's just a discussion. And then once it's decided, I just update the website and the flyer, and, that's done. Then I call up the firewood guy. I've got a friend who he cuts a lot of firewood for a living, and he's got all these scraps that he really can't sell, and they accumulate. And so he brings out his dump trailer with a bunch of that and dumps it, and we take donations for that. And
That's
then I
good.
have to let the campground guy know that we're going to be there, and that's really it. That's all the planning there is.
Anyone ever do any shooting there, or are you even allowed to do it
Yes,
there? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they usually have shooting off down the hill. There's a few guys there who are, you know, really skilled in at shooting, and they'll have a bunch of people, some people that have never shot before, going to the firing range. And, everybody, they make sure everybody's got, all the safety issues covered.
You got the kids and the teenagers shooting?
Oh yeah, of
Good,
course,
good, yeah. That's
kids
what
are
we
supposed
need.
to shoot.
That's what I need. I need those
Yeah,
cipher mercs. We got to grow them up.
it's fun.
Um,
That and teach them how to build drones.
yeah, drones, AI. Need some
Yeah,
tech stuff at Midfest. Now, you said something about camping spots for Vonuans. You need to get more camping spots for Vonuans. What is that all
yeah,
about?
we've had a few Iranians that have been hanging out here a good bit. And, I've been thinking it'd be nice to kind of have a better spot for camping. And so when some folks start showing back up, then that's what we'll do. We'll, create a path and a clearing and, you know, just get something back in the woods.
Now, on the note of like, you don't really like it when stuff gets too big. Your the kind of growth you would like more is if folks would make more festivals, right? If they would make other.
Yeah, yeah, that's the point. That's how this one started. I went to Liberty actually they called it a Freedom Festival in Arizona, and I was just blown away. I'd never been to one of those before. And driving home, that 14-hour drive, I just thought we need something like that in the middle of the continent. So I went out, found a campground, and made it happen. Did as little as I could to get it to happen, and so what I'm trying to do is to demonstrate to people with Midfest how easy it is to have a gathering like this. I call it a gathering for fellowship with kindred spirits seeking a stateless society. And that kind of says it all. And throwing that seeking a stateless society at the end of that kind of helps keep the riffraff out, because statists are, I don't know, they don't feel as comfortable there. We're not rude to them or anything, but it's not the kind of conversations they're comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sta- status. Sorry. Does the lamb want to say something?
Yeah, I don't know whose lamb that is, but cool.
It's probably one of Willie Two's lambs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, statists have their uses. Like most of the counter economy is not like agorists, as I rant
Right.
about in my insurrectionary agorism manifesto.
Well, it is, but they don't realize it. It's like,
Yeah,
really, this
right.
is agorism, huh? Yeah.
Well, agorism is when you're doing it on purpose. Counter economy is the bigger beast, and it's mostly
Yeah.
just like, whatever groundskeepers and shit. but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there is a time and a place for networking with folks that have some ideological basis in common with you, and they have
Yeah.
special uses.
It makes you feel sane. It's like therapy,
Sure, yeah.
not having to explain things to people all the time.
I think you're thinking along the right lines too, with more gatherings, more often, more decentralized, maybe more local is kind of implied
Yeah.
by
In
that.
fact, if these were all over the country, people could, like on the Midfest website, you see there's information about a bunch of other festivals around the country, Liberty type festivals. And so people can kind of decide to, maybe travel to several of them. And if
Yeah,
there's more festivals, then, I can see where people would just make a full time thing all
right.
summer, maybe part of the winter, because, there's some really good festivals in the winter down in Arizona.
Yeah, you could be like a traveling merchant or transporter going from festival to festival. There's a blurry line
Yep.
between a shitload of festivals all the time, all over the place, and just a society, just a parallel society,
Hmm.
right? There's a point at which one bleeds into the other.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having them going on all over the place, even at the same time. That's
Right, yeah.
cool. I know people that's what they do. They like traveling around at the festival selling stuff.
Yeah, and now Midfest happens twice a year, right?
Right. Yeah. A year was just too long to wait, And besides, here in this part of the country, April is beautiful. You got all the spring flowers and everything's blooming. And then in the winter, it's not quite freezing yet. And you've got all the fall colors. And, both times of year are just wonderful, but in different ways. Great time for camping, and it's a little bit outside of most people's camping season. April's a little early, and October's a little late. But really, you might have a freezing night, but you probably won't. So that's not bad.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah,
Thane,
yeah.
if you could plug the first event at Veritas this year, April 24th to 27th, right before Midfest. Hopefully, we'll have some travelers through. That's me plugging. There's an event at Veritas PAZNIA this year
Yep.
in Southern Illinois, April 24th to 27th, right before the height of Midfest. So someone could go to Veritas if they're welcome, and then go to Midfest.
Hmm.
That could be a cool thing. We could import some of those needles into Midfest. Bring the caliber of people down a little bit. Bring the caliber of
Hey,
the
to
vibe.
each their own.
Hey man, I asked these guys, these Veritas PAZNIA guys, about fucking kratom. They don't even know where to get kratom, so they don't
Really?
know shit about needles. These guys are pussies. Now, why don't we? Is there anything else you want to cover on Midfest, on the topic of Midfest?
Well, not really. Just if you're interested, show up, see what we do, and on the way home, think about it and have your own Midfest or whatever the hell you want to call it. But it is a Liberty Festival. I thought real careful about, well, what am I going to call this thing? And there's a little difference between freedom and liberty because freedom can
Yeah.
mean freedom to do anything. And liberty is kind of like freedom with morals. So, you know, you don't hurt people, you don't fuck with their stuff.
You know what the real rub with the word freedom is? in this day and age is all these boomers who suddenly questioned the government for the first time like 6 years ago, because of like lockdowns and masks and vaccines. They kind of hijacked this word freedom. So freedom community means that now, which
Mhm.
they're not the worst crowd in the world, worth networking with for sure. But
No, I'm a boomer. I know lots of boomers. Most people
yeah,
I hang with are older than I am, even. But they're
yeah,
cool.
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're good to
Yeah.
network with, but they don't have much in the way of like principles or having thought things through. Just kind of vague values about
Yeah.
stuff.
They watch too much TV.
That's for fucking sure. They got the news on 24/7.
Yeah.
Go to an old person's house, they got the fucking news on all the time. They turn up the volume really loud.
Yeah. Over on Qortal, we're creating a new news channel. It's called the Mesh Stream News. Not mainstream, but Mesh Stream.
That's pretty cool. What is that? Does it have anything on it yet, or is like an
Oh
idea?
gosh, yeah. When you go to Qortal, one of the first links you'll see is a thing called QTube, which is a spin off of
Oh yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
And there's just all kinds of cool things posted there. And then there's also a new podcasting app, and there's a music app, and there's a social media thing called Quitter, which is spin off of Twitter.
Yeah, I think
It's pretty
when I
cool.
had the Qortal guy on the show, he was showing us most of that stuff. Is Quitter new though? Because I don't remember hearing about that.
No, that's fairly new. There's still new
Oh, okay.
stuff happening all the time on
Oh,
Qortal.
I'm sure.
It's like the Wild West. It's like those early days when the Blackberries first came out and everybody was writing programs
Mm.
for them. It was just Wild West, do what you want. Same thing here. And like the other day, I was noticing there's no calendar app on Qortal yet, but I'm sure there will be. And it's kind of funny. Also, reputation is important. Like there's a thing called QGit that's a GitHub replacement on Qortal, but unfortunately, the fella who's done the thing, the owner of it, or the person who set it up anyway, he, I don't know, he's just too much of a dick most of the time, so a lot of people don't trust him. His reputation kind of sucks. So I'm hoping somebody with a better reputation starts a QGit or some GitHub replacement that, people can trust. Because
Yeah,
you have
or
to watch out for this stuff. There's going to be spooks that may try to infiltrate this thing because it's a threat to them. This is freedom. This is a
oh,
whole
for sure. Yeah.
parallel internet. Can't be stopped. Can't be censored. This cannot be.
Yeah, yeah, and I have some worries about Qortal, which I kind of like hinted at in my interview with the Qortal guy, which is my impression about Qortal is that it's got, I mean, I'm a little picky when it comes to this. Any kind of governance is too much governance for me.
Hmm.
But their governance, I mean, they've made some attempt to have something that looks like separation of powers, separation of concerns, checks and balances in Qortal, but it kind of seemed like they hadn't thought it through. Like it kind of seems like the developer group in Qortal has power over the protocol. Like they have kind of supremacy because I think they elect members in the other groups and they elect their own members too, and something like that.
Well, it's kind of a consensus thing amongst the old guard, developers and some newer guys and stuff. But there's some people that have, just been so hard to get along with that nobody over there will talk to them anymore. So they're kind of out in the cold. But really, the only real, control you might want to say is over the core of the program, because Qortal has two parts. There's the core, and then there's the user interface. And then on top of the user interface is where you have all the applications. And anybody can create and publish an app. Literally anybody. Just get you an account, write you a program, an app, and put it out there. And then if other people decide they like it, they'll use it. And if nobody likes it or they don't like you, then they won't. It's just pretty wide open on the app side. But on the core of the program and control of the blockchain, yeah, there's kind of an old guard there. But quite honestly, I think that works pretty well because it's a consensus thing. And
Yeah, maybe it does.
The founder of it, Jason, he might have a little more say on some things just because of who he is and what he's done. I mean, you got to admire the guy for what he's accomplished
sure, yeah.
with Qortal. But at the end of the day, it's not his choice. It's the consensus.
Yeah, but it's a consensus in a group that kind of decides who is allowed to enter it. So it's a little circular. Like I feel like if
it's the core developers,
it could be more. The Qortal protocol could transition to a more robust, harder to control model if the developer group like kind of cedes some of its power and creates sort of a more balanced separation of powers system, like kind of like executive branch, judicial branch, legislative branch, something like that.
Yeah, I guess probably more the way to think of it is, the core developer group has grown, and there are new people coming in from time to time, and but it's all about reputation. You have to have a good reputation to be in that circle because it's so important to the platform. If you end up with a bunch of spooks taking over the core of the program, God only knows what they'll put in there. It's open source, but has anybody really looked at it? I mean, there's a lot of this stuff they call open source. Who knows what all's in there, because I don't think that many people have looked at it. Hell, just the other day they were talking
it's
about
more complicated than that because there's binary blobs too, and I mean that's really, that should preclude calling it open source, but people like to play with words.
Yeah, that's true. There are things that get called in, dependencies and stuff like that.
Yeah, well that's a whole other.
I'm not a coder, and I don't know all the ins and outs of that stuff, but I'm pretty pleased with the way things are going there. I don't think they're overly, authoritarian or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get it done and not have, nuisance problems to deal with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you bring up the dependencies thing, and I kind of feel like maybe you brought that up because I don't know if you're consciously aware or if you heard in passing about that big attack that happened on OpenSSL because of dependency in an archiving or decompression library that was maintained by one guy. And he was like burnt out. And then some random, supposedly Chinese guy who probably was not actually Chinese, came in and was acting, well, he gained reputation, right? By making contributions, by being super nice, by doing lots of good work, being really good, really likable, really eager. And he socially engineered his way into becoming the main maintainer of that library, right? And then he slipped in pretty much a binary blob, but in a way that was very clever and hidden because it was part of testing data that was supposedly used for testing. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Like this is stuff like that is why it would be nice if capturing or doing something bad to Qortal wasn't as simple as becoming a big hitter in the developer group. Like the developer group needs to be held accountable more by the other groups. Like I know there's a group that deals with the actual mining or whatever their consensus algorithm is. I can't remember.
They call it minting.
Minting,
yeah,
yeah, minting.
Qortal's kind of divided into two things. There's the blockchain, and the blockchain doesn't contain all of the data. That's held in a separate encrypted database. And the blockchain is simply like a big yellow pages, a big index, to find stuff and establish, that it was published and when, and, so it's immutable. It's always there because the index it's been, I guess, written. You can't unwrite it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess like my thinking is there could be the developer group, the minting group, and then maybe some kind of third group. And then those three
Actually,
can be like
those
equals.
first two already exist. There's already a separate kind of minting
Yeah.
group.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Jason
administrators,
explained it to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the core program group over there. And then really as a third group, you could just say it's the users. And, there's a lot of users that are, good at reading code and stuff.
Yeah, maybe that is the third group. Because
Yeah.
all users have reputation on Qortal, right?
Well, yeah, if you have any interaction with people, then they can take away from that whatever feelings they might have,
Is there a system yet for quantifying user reputation outside of the minting group or developer group yet?
No, not really.
Any
That's
talk
another
of it?
thing that's been talked about is some kind of a
Hmm.
reputation system, and particularly like on the sale program called Q Shop, where the shoppers can establish reputation as a seller, and then the buyers can establish reputation because all this stuff's being done in Qortal. And if somebody welches on a deal, or something like
For
that, and they
sure.
make a habit of it, then yeah, you want to be able to
Yeah.
see that and score them on it.
I talk a lot on this show about the importance of coming like decentralized reputation systems in our coming Ancapistan.
Mhm.
And I'm obsessed with privacy. I think everything's got to be like zero knowledge proofs and shit. But that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I think maybe Qortal, that's what it could be. That could be the third group. And those three groups could be a little more horizontal in the power structure. Like two groups could gang up on a third group to veto something it was doing, kind of thing. That might be good for the future of Qortal if they could transition to something like that. But it takes time. And I know it's a well-intentioned project, and I think it's pretty cool. I should probably read fan mail now. And by the way, folks can call in if you want to talk to me and Doc Barber. You can call in at PAZNIA.com/call2. I know you haven't had time to configure a voice transformer, okay, since I gave you that horrible advice earlier, but I'll read some fan mail now. First off, of course, from Thought Crime Boss with a tip. No questions, just some loot. Thumbs up. Thank you, as always, Thought Crime Boss. And remember, you can get $1 if you give me an idea, but you're probably not going to want it because you give me money anyway. Oh yeah, there's talk in the chat about making PAZcraft work over FIPS, which is the Nostr mesh, and of course over Reticulum. PAZNIA Monthly News Show for April is happening on the 25th at 8 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. CST. Oh, fucking Shadrach, I think, gave us this link, audio.iris.to, decentralized metal. It's music platform. He says all components are living on distributed Blossom servers. You're going to have to explain what Blossom servers are. I don't know what that is. Charles brought up this video. Will the Ethereum economic zone easy rebuild ETH dominance? Lord knows Ethereum needs improvement. Does it need to be dominant? That I don't know. But interoperability is a good idea, not just between ETH and L2s on Ethereum, but also between Ethereum and stuff that's not Ethereum, even more so maybe. And yeah, I agree with you about the importance of interoperability. Laters, I brought up, like, there's like a 10-year-old project for pay in any coin, get any coin, and it works seamlessly, and no one has to understand what's going on or swap anything themselves. Kind of layer. I can't remember what the fuck it's called, but it's pretty old. And Polkadot's kind of like that, multi-chain ecosystems. Oh yeah, and Thought Crime Boss actually linked to something interesting. It was like github.com/wada shit wada/blackbox_node. Blackbox node is an offline first command post for Meshtastic and LoRa networks. Combines a fully local LLM radio messaging TAC/ATAC map object exchange over cursor on target, telemetry, and Bitcoin cashew payments, and one self-hosted web UI designed for off-grid communications, disaster response, field operations, community mesh networks, and anyone who wants local AI and situational awareness without cloud infrastructure, without a cell tower, without a remote server. Yeah, I'd say Blackbox node sounds pretty fucking cool. I mean, obviously, somebody needs to tell all these Meshtastic people about Reticulum, and of course, we need to make Reticulum easier for folks to actually use, because as John Galt pointed out, Meshtastic is more user friendly, and that has something to do with it. But yeah, we got to build on Reticulum. It's up to us who are tech inclined to build stuff with Reticulum and make it more user friendly and start doing cool shit with it.
Yeah, there's already some pretty friendly apps for Reticulum. There's a thing called Sideband that works on phones and PCs, and then a thing called what is it? Mesh Chat. Yeah, Mesh Chat.
Yeah.
It runs over on PCs, and then the old original app was called NomadNet.
Yeah,
it's
still around.
out there.
Yeah.
And so there's some cool stuff out there, and these other ones, the newer ones, I think just about anybody should be able to use. It's pretty simple to set up.
I guess it's the like setting up an R node kind of thing. Maybe that's what needs to be. Maybe that's what John Galt is complaining about, I think. I don't know. Or maybe it's documentation. I don't know. The docs look kind of good to me, though.
Mark Cuvist is the guy that's kind of the founder of that program or that project.
Yeah.
And he's done a pretty good job of documenting stuff,
He's got a nice philosophical edge to him. It kind of reminds me of me a little bit, except not so much like nigger and having sex with child prostitutes, but without that stuff, it's kind of like that. Because like an Insurrectionary Agorism Manifesto, I get philosophical and Zen too, and talk about this all reflects the principles of the universe, man. This universal wisdom. He's kind of like that. So he's a visionary, true visionary, game recognized game.
Yeah, one of the first things you see on his website is the Zen of Reticulum.
Yeah, that's new. Yeah, you showed me that. It was super cool. I read it. Yeah, people should read that. It's cool.
And people get confused between Reticulum and radio, LoRa, and stuff. You can run Reticulum over anything. You can run it over the regular internet and stuff. But if you're trying to be prepared for that day they shut down your internet, you might want to learn about radio.
And I mean, LoRa's super cool. Like, you can fucking, and it matches up with the Reticulum sort of ethos, right? Because Reticulum's ethos is like, if we have bandwidth, high bandwidth, low latency, whatever, we'll use it, but we don't need that shit, right? Like Reticulum's built for hard times. It's built to work on fucking Mars, in the middle of Africa, in the fucking
Yeah.
Antarctic. It's built to work when you don't have much power, you don't have much bandwidth, the latency is high, your hardware is shit. It's supposed to work, and it's supposed to do a good job. Very much seeing eye to eye with my mindset. Another thing I love about Reticulum. And yeah, that's what the Meshtastic guys got to understand, is Meshtastic is just like a fun little toy to use with LoRa. And it's super cool that it's getting folks into mesh, but Reticulum, where it's at, man, like that shit could replace the internet. We could use it over LoRa, we can use it over anything. And it's
and it does websites, it does groups, it does peer-to-peer communication. Everything's encrypted. What's not to like?
Yeah.
And also, in the Mesh Chat program on PCs, they've got all the tools in there for flashing your R node chip, and instructions and cool stuff.
I got to read more fan mail.
You've got mail.
Is that the soundboard? Thane Riddle, do you have any goat milking tips? Also, it's the season for boiling down tree sap into syrup. Can you comment on this, and what, if any, role maple syrup could play in the agorist success of Canadian freedom fighters? Goat milking tips. It's all about, like I said, read How to Win Friends and Influence People. You have to make the goat feel respected, appreciated, and important. And you have
warm
to earn
hands. You need warm hands.
Warm hands. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You think about what they want, not what you want. You want milk. They don't care about that. They care about comfort, feeling safe, respected, appreciated. How would you feel if someone were to milk you? Like,
does it feel good?
Yeah, exactly. Reputation or relate. Oh wait, we have a comment on this straight from the horse's mouth. Good diplomatic leaders with their leader, aka General Willie II, important. I think diplomatic relations with their leader is what he meant to say. He corrected leaders to be reputation, and then he corrected it to reputation. I'm saying the wrong words as we're talking about him saying the wrong words. But this is all part of the OPSEC and culture jamming, okay, that we have around. It's all very well thought through. This is just a script I'm reading from, okay? As for maple syrup, the role it can play in agorist success of Canadian freedom fighters, well, I think that was that role was clearly cast upon the world stage when one of the greatest heists in history was pulled off, when some guy stole what was it, like some guy stole like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of maple syrup or something. I can't remember. It was a ridiculous amount. It's one of the greatest heists that's ever happened. The government of Canada do all sorts of crazy, weird, like socialist things with milk and maple syrup and like eggs. And one of the weird things they do is there are state-run maple syrup stores, okay, where they store maple syrup in barrels, just sitting out in the open. And this guy like socially engineered himself, the old, like Thane Riddle says, put on a high-vis vest and bring a clipboard, and you can get into places. This guy did that with a truck, and he would like empty barrels of maple syrup into his containers or tank or whatever the fuck he had. And then he'd fill the barrels with creek water so that if anyone checked, they'd be full of something, assuming that it's maple syrup, right? And this guy over time pulled off one of the biggest heists in history by doing the world a great service and bringing all that gray market maple syrup into the counter economy. And there's a classic example right there. Maple syrup is something that big agra is counterfeiting Okay, they're trying to feed you fucking Monsanto glyphosate corn syrup and calling it maple syrup, or now they sometimes they don't even do that. They call it like table syrup or something. It's
They do
fucking
it with
disgusting.
honey too.
Oh my god, they do that with honey now too?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Ridiculous.
during the part of the year
Disgusting.
when you're collecting honey and your honey collection box is sitting on there, if you go 50 feet away and set up a feeder full of high fructose corn syrup, you end up with a hive full of high fructose corn syrup. And you know what? According to the Food and Drug Administration and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, you can call that honey because the bees touched it. Yeah,
Right.
that's why you want to know your beekeeper.
That's straight up fraud. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what
yeah,
they do.
one of many ways that fraud is enabled by. But remember, folks, the answer is we need more regulation. There's too much deregulation, even though it's the regulators that are protecting and enabling this stuff.
You just have to know your supplier. Like honey,
Yeah.
you just know
Yeah.
your beekeeper. Like
And yeah.
maple syrup, back in the pioneer days, that was a big thing. The sugar that
Oh
you
yeah.
can make from maple syrup.
Calories. Yeah. It's not as shelf
Yeah,
stable as honey, and maybe not as healthy as honey either. But it's nice to have. It's got a special flavor, and
yep.
obviously there's as you know, libertarian agorists only make things like soap and things of that sort. So maple syrup is right up their alley. Okay, so it should be clear what the role is. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm looking at making some ginger root beer for Midfest. So
Charles wants me to talk about how to ethically be a pimp in a voluntary economy. Here's the real deal. All right. The statistics show this isn't a sexy insight, but this is reality. It'd probably be sexy to you because of your conservative values, Charles. But statistics show when folks have more freedom, they tend towards boring old nuclear family, get married, the woman works less type dynamics. That's actually what people tend more towards when they have more freedom. So you're actually going to see, ironically, a drop in prostitution in a world where it's legal and nobody cares, and also there's no such thing as legality. I think the ethical ways of doing it are clear. Some pimps, not all pimps, are very well-dressed men who smack around hookers. There's a fine line between a pimp and like a guy who just sort of hangs out, gives you a ride, and if you are screaming, then he comes. There's a fine line between a pimp and a guy who just whatever he makes a cut because he's your security and your ride, right? So that's probably the most ethical way to go about it. Let's see. Fuck. Token ticker suggestions for a prostitution coin. LOLI. That's going to be my contribution to that. Feel free to write more in the chat. Fuck. Oh, okay. I think this is Respublika Abkhazia. As a professional in geopolitics, I thought I should address two common misconceptions that are recurring on the show. What is colloquially referred to as Iran is in fact not a state, but a cold, savory, yogurt-based beverage that is consumed across Central Asia, the Balkans, and the Middle East. And information about the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz were mostly correct. However, it was never used to supply oil to any state. As the name suggests, it is used to supply other countries with hummus. Please address these inaccuracies. I thank you. You consider them addressed. I'll try to bring that up more in the news. I did start saying Strait of Hummus. I'll try to bring up the yogurt thing more. And let's see if anyone's written anything new in the chat. Question. This is from Fagdul. Question. Is Kludli Svolva code word for silver thingy used for other stuff like lubrication? Can colloidal stuff be used as fuel maybe? They use aluminum in some systems, so maybe that is somehow useful for making fire. Is there a way to get dry powders from that stuff? Can we burn it like in a dust explosion? So yeah, this is, by the way, this is the episode that's going to get us banned forever from YouTube, because the last one where we talked about this poisonous heavy metal solution was the only one that got us a strike, I think. So this episode is going to get us banned. I think you can take that question, Doc Barber, if you remember what I even said.
Yeah, silver doesn't burn. That's not one of the things it's known for. It's kind of heavy metal, and yeah, you can have too much of it, and that's part of the point of trying to, manage the size of the particles and how much you're getting and all. But it's not hard to do. In fact, very few people have ever had any kind of negative side effect from too much silver, and it's basically turned into a big Smurf.
Right, yeah, like the guy who some folks think was paid to do that, so that he could be used. And also the funny thing is, despite taking so much of this dangerous chemical that no one should ever swallow, that he turned fucking blue, he still reported that there were no other ill effects and that he never got sick. But he's clearly just some crazy crackpot, and he's lying.
Yeah, he's real healthy.
Oh, we've got a new tip from Not Thought Crime Boss. No questions, just love. I love you too, Not Thought Crime Boss. Thank you. Especially love your money. And then finally, just one last fan mail.
Love is the opposite of fear.
Oh, right. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, according to that, to this teacher from Donnie Darko and all that. I kind of feel like Donnie Darko. Like, I don't know if love is the opposite of fear. I don't know if that makes any damn sense to me personally. But well, actually, it kind of is. In this, I guess love is like you want to be with something, and fear is like you have an aversion for something. And also, love is kind of like present oriented. It's something that's actually here, whereas fear is a potential imaginary future thing that you're trying to avoid. So I can kind of see how they're opposites, actually. But I still like both because I'm a Sith Lord. So I use all emotions to generate Sith lightning that comes out of my fingers. The final fan mail is the magic powder useful in batteries, like how some people sprinkle graphene on them to get higher capacities? Other cool techno or health stuff to mention? We like that here. Sorry that I basically rephrased the same two questions for every guest.
Well, there's some newer batteries that are really high performers that are using a lot of silver these days. So, yeah, silver's starting to be used more and more in batteries.
And it's highly, highly conductive. So I wouldn't be shocked if something weird happened if you sprinkled silver on batteries.
Yeah, it's highly conductive of both electricity and heat.
Right. Yeah. Silver's pretty cool, but highly dangerous. It should never be consumed or topically applied to your body under any circumstances. All those crackpots who say that it harms pathogens and helps you not get sick and like disinfect wounds, and that there's no way for pathogens to become immune to it like they can with antibiotics. All that shit is just made up. It's not true. Not a word of it is true. You should actually use pharmaceuticals instead, especially the ones that are owned by subsidiaries of Alphabet, who runs YouTube, because Alphabet is also in Big Pharma. You should definitely check out those products. They're quite reputable, I've heard.
The closer the product is to some oligarch, the more you should use it. Then you'll be sure to get good sick care.
Yeah. Alphabet's way up there. They own the whole alphabet. ABC.xyz. So yeah, I don't know. What else do you want to touch on before we wrap up the interview? I know you got Agris.market,
Yeah,
Maybe.
actually, I don't have that anymore.
Oh, really?
I gave it to a friend
Oh,
who's doing a lot better job with it,
oh
and
shit.
he's got a lot more skill than I do. And but I
Are
started
you
it, I guess.
are you able to say a name for this person, or is it just like a mysterious
His name's
being?
Drew.
Drew. Do
Nice fella. Yeah.
you think Drew would be a good guest for the show?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he
Oh,
would
maybe you
be.
should
I
help
don't
me
know if
get him
he'd
on.
want to be, but I can ask him.
Yeah, you might as
Can
well
send
ask.
him a message. Yeah, Drew's into all kinds of
Just tell
stuff.
him
If
not
you
to
could
listen
interview
to the
him,
show.
yeah, if you could interview him, it'd be interesting because he's into all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure where he's at right now. He might be either in New Hampshire or Arizona or who knows where.
Nice disinfo. We both know he's right next to you right now. But nice. But you want to
Yeah.
talk
Well,
you want to talk more about your poison heavy metal products or
well,
fucking I don't know.
I don't do medicine because the Food and Drug Administration says that would be bad.
Well,
So I
yeah, it's
do
weird.
personal care products because all of my products have cosmetic uses and I
Right.
satisfy all
Right.
the cosmetic requirements.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and you can use them for research purposes on gay frogs to see how harmful it is
oh
so that
yeah,
we can avoid harming ourselves with those products. And that's good for
yeah,
personal care in a sense.
yeah. I mean, these are, like this colloidal silver stuff. Lots of people make lots of different things and they call it colloidal silver. But a colloidal solution is just one phase of one thing suspended in a different phase of another, like a rain cloud. A rain cloud is water vapor that's suspended in air. And so true colloidal silver is just silver particles suspended in very pure water. And the particles, if they're small enough, they just want to stay away from each other. So they suspend themselves in the fluid just by staying away from each other. And then there's kind of a physical limit. You can't quite get to 50 parts per million concentration of silver in pure water. Anything that's more than that is not colloidal silver. It's got proteins or, you know, whatever added to it, salts and stuff to suspend more. And then also, that's the total silver. And the nanoparticles are much better, more useful than the ions. The ions are just single molecules, and as soon as they come in contact with the salt, they neutralize. They combine with the salt and form a compound. So to get a higher nanoparticle concentration, you have to scrub some ions. And so that was one of the more interesting parts of developing the product. And then you want to get the particle size of the nanoparticles down as small as you can, because then they get more places and there's more surface area. So for the same parts per million, if the particles are smaller, you got more particles, more effectiveness, all that kind of stuff. So, I spent 4 years developing my colloidal silver, and it's the best stuff out there. And I can say that, truthfully, because I pay attention to what all is out there. And then
Well,
while I was creating that, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. You finish.
Well, while I was creating that, my wife had uh, a toenail fungus on her toe, and she was wondering uh, what it would do. She tried it, and their only complaint was that it turned her nails kind of a brown color because that's the color of the silver nanoparticles. So she said, "How about a cream or something that would you could put on that had a lot of silver?" And it's like, "Hey, good idea." So I came up with that, and through the process of creating the colloidal silver, I learned how to make nanoparticles. So now I've got dry nanoparticles, and that creates the ability to put a lot more silver in things like a cream than you could if you were just adding, colloidal silver. So that's how
Yeah,
the
I hope
silver
Fagdul is
green.
listening because that's the powder that he's interested in sprinkling
Yeah,
on batteries.
you can buy silver nanoparticle. It's for
Yeah.
sale. It's a laboratory thing.
Well, if anyone's listening to us on YouTube, I think you just heard the part that got us banned. So you might want to go to PAZNIA.com/radio. That's PAZNIA.com/radio. So that you can listen to us on other places, Zap.stream, Rumble, Library, Odyssey, whatever. It was nice knowing you. Maybe I can counteract all that colloidal silver talk by saying like nigger, nigger, nigger. We should kill all the Jews. Hitler did nothing wrong. We should every right winger and libertarian should be a Nazi. You should either be a Nazi or you're either a Nazi or a communist, and we need to take to the streets and start killing each other. Okay, and also we need to vote. You got to get out there and vote and protest, and that's far more important than all this. Don't get caught up taking stupid poisons. What are you, some kind of faggot? You care? Oh, I care about my health. That sounds fucking gay. You should just eat McDonald's and like Kraft singles. So hopefully maybe that'll cancel it out. That bought us another month.
Yeah.
Get
Well,
another strike.
I didn't make any kind of medical claims. My products are
You didn't
purely
do it last time
cosmetic
either.
for
we,
personal care.
we got a strike anyway.
Oh well,
But
that's okay.
our time is limited here anyway.
If you're getting struck, you're over the target. One thing
Yeah.
I didn't mention
that's
earlier on
poker
Qortal, there's a username on Qortal called Vonu, Vonu, and Vonu is publishing all of the past episodes of the Vonu podcast. Has published
Right.
all the freely available books.
Yes, I heard about that. That's cool. Yeah.
That's all cool. And then let's see, the books and stuff are over on a thing called QShare, and another newer thing that I really like called Library Under the Sphinx. So,
Under the what?
Yeah, Sphinx. Like the one in
Library
Egypt.
Under the Sphinx. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun. Well, hey, they
lots
actually
of cool
found
stuff.
Evidence of structures openly now under the Great Pyramids. Not I don't know about the Sphinx.
Sure.
But there's a lot of FUD about it. That
Well, I need a distraction right now too.
Fuck, there wasn't even much of a fuss
out there
about it.
talking about Epstein.
Right. Epstein. We should be talking about the tunnels under Comet Pizza. Okay, forget about the don't look at the Great Pyramid. Now, but of course, the tunnels under the Great Pyramids are where the ancient Anunnaki snuck children through. Okay, but they were openly sacrificed to the pharaohs to be raped and fed on for adrenochrome, and also something monoatomics, immortality, whatever. But that is for me and not for thee. Now, are there any? Do you want to like plug yourself?
There's just one other thing. I mean, I don't even plug myself, but one thing I have been pimping really severely lately. There's this fella, he's a Persian fella, who's got a thing called freedomlawschool.com, and he publishes a whole lot of videos and good information, and he gives it all away for free. And basically, he teaches
a Persian
people
guy without a profit motive. What's going on?
Well, he ended up making some money on the thing because some people just don't want to do this themselves without somebody holding their hand, because they're afraid of the government.
So it's advertising for his consulting.
That's not where he started, and you don't have to spend money if you don't want to. But at any rate, what he advocates is
that's what this whole show is. It's just advertising for my consulting.
Yeah, there you go. And but all this guy is doing is promoting the idea that you don't have to pay federal income taxes unless you live in Washington, D.C. or one of the territories, because there's no law anywhere that says you have to pay. And so if you don't file forms, which is the first thing he advises you, don't fill out a form. All you're probably doing is providing evidence they'll use against you. So don't fill out the forms. And then if they come to you and say, you got to do this, say, well, show me the law. I want to be sure and follow the law. And they can't show you the law. And so that's so simple.
They could show you the inside of a cell though.
Yeah, but it won't stick. And this guy's been not paying taxes for over 30 years, and he's never seen the inside of his cell. And
yeah, I mean, to be fair, there are cases like I like to poke fun at anything like a freeman on the land kind of thing, and even legal interstices that are well known to work. Like I still kind of make fun of them a little bit because like to a degree, it's kind of like pussy shit to me. I agree, people shouldn't file their taxes, but you can also just like have it so that they don't know where you are and where your money is and your assets, and then that's even better. And then
it
doesn't even matter.
But this is so simple, just stupid simple. Just don't fill out the forms, don't give them any information. Say, show me the law, and until they show you the law, they really got nothing. And that's just so simple. I can't help but love it. So I've been pimping some of his videos lately because we got to starve the beast. That's the problem.
Well, that's for sure.
Got to starve the beast.
Just do it safely. Like, don't even tell them where you are. Rayo 2 says, sounds like the new version of Lynn Meredith. She wrote a book called Vultures and Eagles Clothing or something like that in the 1990s that covered a lot of that stuff. She ended up spending some time in prison, though. LOL. Hopefully this guy's got some better, more modern solutions. Well.
Yeah, what I like about it's just so simple. Simple solutions are always the best.
Way more simple than modern solutions is the ancient, timeless solution, using the laws of physics, which is, you don't know where I am, that's it. Game one. I kill you. You stop doing things I don't like. Game one. Little things like that. That's what I like to stick to. Real simple.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Doc Barber, for putting up with me and coming on the show again and telling us about cool stuff. You sure you don't want to plug anything?
Midfest, sometime around the 29th of April, show up, hang out, have a good time.
And that website again?
If you want to buy some silver personal care products, go to ppmsilver.com/big A, big M, like Agris Market. And that's where you find all the information on buying that with however you want to pay. There's any number of ways, crypto,
and
silver,
the website for Midfest?
And the Midfest website is midfest.info. And on Qortal, it's just Midfest. And there is a PPM Silver website on Qortal as well. And there's a PPM Silver shop where you can buy for Qortal. And so, yeah. Good stuff.
Thank you so much for getting us banned. Nigger.
My
Vote
pleasure.
for the Nazi Party.
If they're not pissed off, you're not over the target.
Yeah. Make sure to buy Alphabet-owned pharmaceuticals. Go to PAZNIA.com/SimpleX to see all our various SimpleX chats on PAZNIA and the topics that may interest you, and you can enter them and say things. We did not get to stream on TikTok just yet, but hopefully we'll at least be able to post clips there and maybe stream it later on. If you know anyone who is or is going to be military age, like 13 to 23, anytime now in the next 10 years, do tell them about us on TikTok at PAZNIA Radio. I am a super cool, super serious expert on privacy and security. You should give me money and I'll help you. Check that shit out. vonupodcast.com/CD to get me on Session or SimpleX. On the next show next week, we're going to have a Building a Second Realm topic on musings on guerrilla warfare in the context of insurrectionary agorism. And the guest will be fellow shitposting freedom fighter Justin, the CEO of Phoenix Ammunition. I will leave you with a quote from Bill Maher. We won't stop being sick until we stop making ourselves sick, because there is a point where even the most universal government health program can't help you. They can't outlaw unhealthy food or alcohol or cigarettes, just pot, sadly. Because you see, the government is not your nanny. They're your dealer, and they've subsidized illness in this country. They have to. There's too much money in it. You see, there's no money in healthy people, and there's no money in dead people. The money is in the middle. People who are alive, sort of, but with one or more chronic conditions that puts them in need of Celebrex or Nasonex or Valtrex or Lunesta. 50 years ago, children don't even get type 2 diabetes. Now it's an emerging epidemic, as are a long list of ailments that used to be rare and have now been mainstreamed. Things like asthma and autism and acid reflux and arthritis, allergies, adult acne, attention deficit disorder. And that's just the A's. Doesn't anybody wonder why we live with all this illness? Self-Liberation Saturday will keep going for some hours still with sundry PRM deprogramming. So don't touch that dial, boss. Stay tuned and stay frosty.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
Now, when it comes to weird alternative health shit, you may have heard of Brown's gas, boss, aka molecular hydrogen. Technically, actually, molecular hydrogen is just one part of what Brown's gas is, but whatever. It's a kind of wellness treatment used by health professionals and weirdos all over the world, both mainstream and otherwise. They got gas bars in Japan and shit. Big body of research showing that this therapy likely helps with pretty much everything: cancer, diabetes, heart disease, pretty much every organ system in the body. Over 1,500 papers, therapeutic potential for 170 diseases. In broad strokes, it works by fucking electrolyzing water into hydrogen and oxygen, and then you breathe that shit and you drink the water that it's bubbled through. And these gases are, negatively charged and shit, and they get into every cell of your body. It's probably how magical healing springs work, at least partially. The water is hydrogen enriched. Now, the PAZNIA Department of Health and Wellness has run R&D on these machines for about 4 years, and the top machine being recommended right now is the Lord's Hydrofix by Holy Hydrogen. And can you believe it? We have a coupon code for a product that isn't on our own fucking store. There's a first time for everything, so save a fat chunk of change on the Department of Health and Wellness's top recommended machine, and support Cloak and Dagger at the same time by heading on over to holyhydrogen.com and inputting coupon code VONU100 to get $100 off your Lord's Hydrofix. You're going to want to do your own research on this. The Molecular Hydrogen Institute website can help you with that. There's whatever, you can use whatever resources you want. There's a huge body of research on this. You know as well as I do, hopefully, that there are a lot of bullshit health tonics and gimmicks being hawked out there. The Brown's gas is one of the truest, most powerful tonic treatments out there in the world by far. When you learn for yourself how much of a health and wellness bombshell molecular hydrogen truly is, you're going to see why having your own machine is truly worth the investment. These machines are a bit costly, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, but they last for ages, and they may help you save on health costs in the long run. Nothing's a bigger deal than your health, so pony the fuck up. Go to holyhydrogen.com. Use coupon code VONU100, Victor Oscar November Uniform 100. Get $100 off.
Transmission source: PAZNIA Radio Network, frequency 99.9, Freedom. Date: April 8th, 2026. 2. President Dolan J. Trump, USSA. From General Willie II, Supreme Commander of the Free Republic of PAZNIA. Subject: your new residence and a suggestion to stop posting on Truth Social.
Greetings, citizens of the USSA, and a special direct message to Dolan J. Tramp, the man who thought he could rule the world with a golden pen and a broken phone. I am speaking to you today not as a goat, but as a liberator. I am speaking to you via the PAZNIA radio network, the only station in the world that doesn't play ads for tax loopholes or cheap off-grid solar kits made in China. Dolan, listen closely. The time for Make the USSA Great Again is over. The time for Make the USSA Quiet Again has begun. I have reviewed your recent activity. I have seen the photos. I have heard the rants. I have seen the way you hold your phone like it's a holy relic, posting on Truth Social while the world burns around you. Put the phone down, Dolan. Put it down. Your fingers are getting cramped. Your brain is getting fried. And quite frankly, your orange hairline is looking a little receding. It is time to put on the white jacket. Yes, the white jacket. The one with the little pockets for your pills and your napkins. It's the uniform of the wise, the calm, and the people who finally understand that the world doesn't need a dictator. It needs a nap. So, Dolan, pack your bags. Not your golf clubs, not your gold statues, but your dignity. Because you are heading to your new home. Your new residence is the St. Jude Sanctuary for the peaceful and the peaceful-minded. It's a beautiful place, Dolan. Very quiet, very soft, very jello. Imagine it, Dolan. No more rallies. No more screaming at the mirror. It's a warm, wobbly bowl of strawberry jello every morning. And in the afternoon, you get to watch Fox News on a loop. But here's the catch. Dolan, you can't talk about it. You can't tweet about it. You can't post about it. You just get to watch and eat and nap. It's the life you always wanted, Dolan. A life of passive consumption. No more fighting. No winning. Just you, a bowl of jello, and the endless loop of breaking news that never breaks anything. We have prepared a special transport for you. It's a comfortable padded van with soundproofing. The ride will be smooth. The ghosts will be driving. They are very good drivers. They know how to avoid potholes. So, Dolan, get your white jacket ready, pack your jello, and get ready for the great transition. The PAZNIA Radio Network will be broadcasting your new theme song all day long. It's called Orange Jello Jive. Remember, Dolan, freedom is not about controlling the world. It's about letting go. And the best way to let go is to sit in a white room, eat some jello, and watch the news until the credits roll. Signed, General Willie II, Supreme Commander, Free Republic of P.A.Z.NIA, the Quarter Goat, the Liberator, the Jello King.
This was PAZNIA Folklore Storytime, wherein we remember and celebrate the sacrifices of those that came before us to build this free republic founded upon the principles of truth, peace, and voluntarism. To help support our evangelical efforts, please visit xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio. Again, xmrchat.com/PAZNIA Radio. Or visit paznia.com/fund. Cheers from the Second Realm. You've just heard a transmission of the PAZNIA Radio Network, the entertainment and propaganda arm of the Free Republic of PAZNIA, a public service of the PAZNIA Free Press.